Thank you for coming. My name is Constable Phil Gavin. I'm one of the media relations personnel here at the Niagara Regional Police Service. As you're aware from the media advisory that went out earlier today, this media availability will address the investigative developments involving the October 2nd, 2024 homicide in John Allen Park on Kayla Road in Niagara Falls. Following our individual speakers' comments, there will be a formal 10-minute question period. During the question period, we would ask you to identify yourself and your respective agency prior to your question. We will have a microphone available should you require that to be able to ask your question. Could everyone please ensure that your cell phones are on silent? With us today is Niagara Regional Police Chief Bill Forty and Hamilton Police Service Detective Sergeant Sarah Beck. Chief Forty will have some remarks and Sergeant Beck will be available to answer questions following the Chief. Chief?
Good afternoon. I'm here this afternoon to speak to you about the arrest that was made with respect to someone who we believe has committed offenses, the offense of murder in Toronto, Hamilton, and Niagara. On October 1st, 2024 at 2:08 p.m., the Toronto Police responded to a call for service in the Keele Street and Dundas Street West area. At this time, it was reported that a woman in her 60s was located deceased inside her residence with visible trauma. On October 2nd, 2024 at 2:49 p.m., emergency services personnel in Niagara responded to John Allen Park in response to a disturbance. When our first responders arrived on scene, they found an adult male suffering from critical injuries. Efforts to provide medical assistance were undertaken by the Niagara Emergency Medical Services and the Niagara Falls Fire Service, but unfortunately, a 47-year-old resident by the name of Lance Cunningham was pronounced deceased at the scene. On October 3rd, 2024, at approximately 12:26 p.m., the Hamilton Police responded to a 911 call requesting an ambulance at 209 McNabb Street North. At that time, an unresponsive male, since identified as 77-year-old Mario Billich, was transported to hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The investigators from our respective agencies were able to identify a suspect, 30-year-old Sabrina Kaldhar, where she was arrested in Burlington. During the throes of the investigation, we learned of the connectivity between the murders in Toronto, Hamilton, and Niagara, and Sabrina Kaldhar appeared in provincial court in St. Catharines this morning, charged with 3 counts of murder for the incidents that I previously referenced. Detectives are continuing their investigation. We are trying to identify another female that was involved in purchasing some of the clothing that the accused was wearing when she was arrested, and we have an interest in identifying her, 1, to ensure her safety, and 2, to confirm what role, if any, she played in this offense. I think I would be remiss before making any additional comments if I did not comment on and recognize the significant impact that these types of offenses have in our community, and the fact that both Lance Cunningham and Mario Billich have families that they've left behind, so we offer our sincere condolences to the families. Detectives are still attempting to identify the female, and I am again asking for the public's assistance to reach out to our tip line, which is 289-248-1058, if they have any information at all that they feel could help further our investigation. Or if they're not comfortable calling the tip line, I ask that they reach out to Crime Stoppers at www.crimestoppershamilton.com or the Crime Stoppers number in Niagara Falls. We are joined here today by our colleagues in Hamilton, and I can tell you that I've had discussions with Chief Bergen from the Hamilton Police Service, with Chief Tanner from the Halton Police Service, and Deputy Chief Johnson from the Toronto Police Service. Our investigators are collaborating, sharing information to identify investigative strategies so we can move forward in a coordinated manner. And I'll terminate my end my comments at this point time.
Chief, can I have a question, please? Catherine McDonald from Global News. Do you believe if you hadn't arrested Ms. Colcar, that this crime spree, this deadly crime spree, would have continued?
It's always difficult to speculate on what somebody would do. What I can say is that I'm very pleased that we were able to bring this to closure in a quick manner. We have 3 families here that have lost their loved ones. And I think, when we have someone who's committed 3 offenses in a real tight time frame like that, there is a risk of them obviously committing further offenses. So I'm grateful for the dogged determination shown by our investigative teams in the pursuit of justice in this particular case.
And just a follow-up, you said that the 2 attacks, the one in Niagara Falls and the one in Hamilton, these people were randomly targeted. Why? I did speak to people in Hamilton who said that Mario Village he was carrying a bag. Is it possible it was a robbery attempt?
Yes, you are correct. The Mario and Lance Cunningham were both going about their business, and we believe that they were random attacks. We are not aware of any connection between the victims, and we are not aware of the motive at this time. We're very early in these stages, early stages of the investigation. Anytime you have a major case like this, it's really important for us to front-end load the investigation. Between our respective agencies, we have in excess of 100 investigators trying to understand, the reasons why something like this takes place, and to gather as much evidence as possible to bring the accused to court.
How were police able to identify her so quickly?
During the investigation, we engaged in a pretty significant canvass. Video footage was secured, and our investigative team was able to identify her through follow-up with respect to the video footage.
You said she was arrested in Burlington yesterday, 5:45. You also have that picture of the person that you are trying to identify at the Giant Tiger from October 1st. That was also Burlington. Was she arrested in that area? Where was she arrested? Can you speak to that?
Yes, I can. Thank you. She was arrested in Burlington. Our investigators were in the throes of preparing the judicial authorization, and she arrived at the location where our investigators were securing the location, and they arrested her at the scene in Burlington.
Was she staying there? Can you speak to what that area was?
It was a hotel, and I'm not in a position to say how long she had been there.
On Wednesday, police said that there was no threat to the public. But it turns out that wasn't the case. Comment on that, please.
I don't think I can comment on that. I can say that she was arrested on Thursday when we identified her. When you say there was no threat to the public, I would need to understand probably more about that comment.
I think it was in a release that was sent to media.
I think these cases, in isolation, there was no connectivity and there was no known threat to the public. Obviously, when you have a homicide and you have suspects out there, there's always the concern that it might be a random attack. There's obviously a distinction between a targeted attack and a random attack, and we obviously take both very seriously.
But given Mr. Cunningham was just out walking in a park, and obviously, it was in the middle of the day, and then the following day, another person is just out walking in Hamilton. I mean, point is, yeah, how concerned were you given the fact that there was no reason that that man in Niagara Falls should have been targeted? And if that was the case, why didn't you alert the public to the fact that this appeared to be a random attack?
I don't know that it would be fair for me to say at this time, this early in the investigation, that we knew it had been a random attack. Within 24 hours of Mr. Cunningham being murdered, virtually within 24 hours, we have the suspect in custody. As you know, when there are a pattern of random attacks, we take those very seriously, and we do public notifications to try to mitigate any public safety concerns.
Would you consider her a serial killer?
Pardon me?
Would you consider her a serial killer?
I think by definition, she is a serial killer, 2 or more offenses. So by definition, I think that's a fair comment.
Now, obviously, pretty early in the investigation, but is there like a reason, like mental health or something that might be behind this?
Yeah, I don't know that at this stage of the investigation we'd be in a position to provide context with respect to a fully informed answer. When someone is alleged to have committed these types of offenses, obviously you would ask the question, is everything okay, or is there a criminal element, or is there, as referenced earlier, is it a robbery? And we're just in the early stages of the investigation, and I think with the passage of time we'll have greater clarity.
Now, one of the victims, was stabbed. Similar case with the other two?
Yeah, we have not yet confirmed in the media the means that the victims lost their lives. I think to preserve the integrity of the investigation, as I sit here today, my preference would be to not comment on the manner that any of these persons lost their life.
Was she known to police, and are the different agencies looking at other unsolved random attacks at this point?
Yeah, I can confirm that our agencies are speaking with our colleagues across the province to confirm if there are other incidents that might be related. I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Was she known to police?
Oh, I'm sorry. She's not from Niagara, but my understanding is that she has had interaction with police prior to these events.
A quick look at her online. She was charged in 2019 by Sault Ste. Marie Police in relation to a minor sort of a mischief, maybe it was an assault, I should say, and a breach of probation. But was she on the radar from 2019 until 2024, or is there a big gap?
Yeah, I'm not in a position to provide anything with respect to her criminality in the days prior to these events taking place. Certainly not in a position to speak to them today. Perhaps with the passage of time, we'll have greater clarity on what that might look like.
How did she get between the three cities?
Our investigators are in the throes of trying to better understand the timeline, but we do know that it wasn't uncommon for her to use public transportation, whether it be taxi or public bus routes. In this particular case, we don't know the specific means of traveling, but we do know that she has used those as a means to travel.
And was it personal security cameras that were helpful in identifying who this woman was?
I believe, yes, that they were residential in nature, but as part of a front load in a major case like this, our investigators will liaise with residents in a community, but they'll also talk to businesses to secure their video. We'll be canvassing both and trying to secure as much as possible.
Now, the two gentlemen were random. The first victim was known to her. Any idea of the connection and how they're later connected?
As I stand here right now, I know that the investigators in Toronto are still trying to liaise with the victim's family. So I'm not sure it would be appropriate for me to comment on the relationship, if any. I think at this time the investigators are mindful of the impact that this has had on the families, and they're trying to be as sensitive and mindful as they can.
Is there a reason she's in Niagara, like brought back to Niagara? Is the NRP the lead over the three? And why is that?
I can say that Sabrina Kaldahar was arrested by Niagara, and after she was in our custody, Hamilton and Toronto became more engaged, and their respective investigative teams came to Niagara, where we discussed the path forward, the sharing of information, investigative strategies, consulted Crown prosecutors, and she appeared in our provincial court this morning.
And is it fair to say Hamilton also had surveillance video of her attacking the gentleman?
We did large video canvas in our area as well, both from businesses and residential cameras in the area. We have footage of behavior right before the offense and shortly thereafter, not of the offense itself.
There's no more questions?
Actually, sorry, couldn't get you to the mic. Sorry, thank you, please. All right, obviously Niagara had video surveillance of this woman. What did Hamilton help identify?
So from Hamilton, we had started with, and I'm going to start with echoing some of the comments from the chief, in that I first want to recognize the impact of this crime on our community and our victim. In particular, our victim, Mario Bilic, was very well known in the area where he was. He's very well known not only to Hamilton community, but also to, he has many, many family and friends in that area. He is a retired teacher with the Hamilton Wentworth Catholic School Board. So his family is very involved in the community where he was. He attends those businesses regularly. And his whole family is very highly involved. So our heartfelt condolences are going out first and foremost to them and everybody that knew them, because they really are highly impacted by this. But in terms of working with and supporting them, the family has been highly engaged, and right away members of the community came forward and identified Mario as our victim.
And what video do you have of her in relation to Mario?
We have video of pre-offense behavior of her in the area of our scene. Mario was at a social club in the area right before the offense, meeting with his regular friends that he meets there on a regular basis as part of his weekly routine. And so we have her present there, following him then to the area of his vehicle, and then leaving the area shortly after the offense is committed.
Is there a fear that if she wasn't caught, that more of these would happen?
To echo the chief's comments, I believe that such a high number of incidents in such a short period of time, we could speculate that there very well could have been more. Thank you.
If there's no more questions, we'd like to thank everyone, and that will conclude our press conference. If there's further questions beyond that, the media inquiry emails for the respective services might be able to assist you further. Thank you. Afternoon.